The rectum, which is this piece right here, is a feces waiting room. And as such, the rectum is an expandable organ. And this histological picture here on the right, it's what's called the rectoanal junction, which shows you some pretty large folds here in the rectum. Then those folds would allow it to expand, accommodating more feces waiting to leave the body. There are baroreceptors in the rectum that feed back to the brain as it fills. And those baroreceptors basically say, hey, there's a lot of feces that are waiting to escape. The rectum's epithelium is very similar to the epithelium of the large intestine. It's got simple columnar cells that you can see over here on the left. And there's even more mucus cells scattered among the simple columnar cells. Similar to the folds of the rectum that allow for expansion, the anus has mucosal columns and sinuses that allow for expansion as large feces pass through. When feces press on the sinuses, then they're prompted to secrete like extra mucus, and it hopefully aids in digestion. This is why straining in defecation can lead to excess mucus production. Large feces can also press upon really superficial veins that are in the anus, and continued pressure on them can result in distended veins, which are hemorrhoids. Hemorrhoids can be present on the internal anal sphincter or the external anal sphincter. And despite the location, anal tissue is made of stratified squamous epithelium, same as your mouth, and external anal tissue is slightly more keratinized than the internal anal tissue. And this is what ensures that some cells can be lost as feces scrape them off as they pass through the anus. Defecation occurs very much like urination and involves two distinct sphincters. There is the internal anal sphincter made of smooth muscle, it's involuntary. And there's the external anal sphincter made of skeletal muscle, which is voluntary. So, loss of control over these sphincters can occur without proper care. The process of defecation begins when a baroreceptor from either the anus or the rectum feeds back to the central nervous system. And that's what's going on here. That's what's going on here. These neurons, the green ones, are sensory, and they're feeding back to the spinal cord. There's going to be an unconscious reflex that then comes back to the internal anal sphincter, and it says relax. And this puts all of the pressure, like all of the onus of containment, solely onto that external anal sphincter. And you control that one. So your rectum and anus is just kind of waiting in like suspended animation until you send a signal that opens up those skeletal muscle in the external anal sphincter and allow feces to leave the body. So, yeah, the external anal sphincter, as it says over here, control it responsibly.